Um, Good evening. Um, I'm gonna just come right out and say what needs to be said at the moment. This is actually unbelievable. Um, I We have individuals. First of all, good evening, everyone, um, and welcome back. I'm just taken aback at the moment. I don't want to draw this out, but we have. While I was in the Navy, when I was in the Navy, there was this thing, um, Navy core values. I'm not promoting the Navy. I'm not putting off the Navy either. Loved the Navy, loved everything about the Navy. Would love to go back. I enjoyed my time in the Navy, the camaraderie. But we have this thing called Navy core values. Our core values was honor, courage, and commitment. Um, the thing is, with honor, we were taught to do the right thing. Do the right thing, even when no one is looking, even though you're not being watched. Do the right thing. If you do so, then you could be at least satisfied with yourself and have honor, your own self honor. Whether other people see you as being honorable or not is not important. As long as on the inside you have peace of mind because you know that he knows that you have been honorable in any and all situations because you've held yourself to this one particular value, being honorable, to do the right thing, even when no one is looking. Courage. Courage is to do the thing that might frighten you, it might scare you, maybe not, but in the presence of fear for most people, um, to do it anyway, to stand up and do the thing that needs to be done, even though it's the unpopular thing to do. Courage. Most people would not do it. Most people would tell you not to do it. Um, but to do what is unpopular, to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. Courage. Um, and committed is to have the dedication, the devotion to follow through with a task, um, a cause, or this is very important for military, to follow an order, um, and to hold yourself obligated, hold yourself responsible, um, to be committed, to be committed to carrying out that task, um, in the face of whatever adversity. Okay. Um, Honor, courage, and commitment. Make sure my phone is off. There was a movie back in the day, called, I think it was, yeah, I try not to promote anything, but there was a movie written by a young, up and coming um, uh, director, um, named Spike. And the name of this movie, I believe it was called Do the Right Thing. And it was dealing with something that was not so popular at this particular time, in this particular area where the movie was produced. Anyway, I'm saying that to say it's been difficult at best to look around today to find individuals that you can see as an example of people that might have integrity, to have a positive mentor, to have individuals standing that you don't mind walking in their shoes, following in their footsteps. You would think that our leaders all around us would not have an issue whatsoever with having certain qualities, right? Problem is, not so much. Here, I came up in the house of prayer, and I did not have a whole lot of men. I didn't see a lot of people that I could look up to that had these qualities. There were people that I thought had these qualities that I watched, that I observed, that I had admired for a few years. But I grew up and I would see certain things, and I would not let anybody know. I never told anyone. But I would look for individuals because, well, my father wasn't there, my biological father. Um, and my mother, she did everything she could, working several jobs to take care of four of us. My sister was the oldest, two brothers, and then myself. We're all of us 1 year apart. And she did a heck of a job doing everything necessary to pull the load and take care of all of us. Our stepfather came into the picture when I was 9. But the point that I'm making is when I look around at our leaders in the world, all around us, more particularly in the house of prayer, I don't see this. I'm ashamed to say that I don't see this. I put in one of our videos also that I talked to the council, the general council. I sat before them when I was in California. And unfortunately, I'd gotten upset, and I looked them in their eyes, those that were there, one of them being the bishop, the current bishop. Someone asked me if it was hard to say bishop. It's difficult to say his name. For me, I shared with them, it is extremely difficult because I knew him coming up. My siblings, they used to call him Uncle, Uncle Dino. But as I said before, in private conversations, I saw from a distance that he had changed over the years. And the changes, in my opinion, were not good. And anyway, it was hurtful to see these changes. And I expressed to him on the phone that he was not the same man that I knew growing up. And I said a few other things, but the point is that I was looking for individuals that I saw certain qualities in. Throughout the organization, as I've traveled extensively up north, down south, up and down the eastern seaboard, Midwest, as well as to the West Coast. I've been all over the organization. And I have not seen a lot of men that have these qualities, including in our bishops. I thought I did in one of them. But anyway, my point being, my objective is to live up to certain qualities, whether people believe, accept it, see it or not. That's not my desire. To make sure that people acknowledge that I have those qualities. My desire is to make sure that he knows that I have those qualities. I only share that to say this. I'm preparing to write up some paperwork. And while preparing, I took another glance at the Constitution this morning. This time, I've been ignoring the most recent Constitution because, as I've been stating, it's all null and void. These videos also, by the way, are for educational purposes, only to inform those individuals that are interested in this material. So that said, you can pause here and get your constitutions. Once again, you're going to need your 2009 and your 2023 constitutions. So if you want to hit pause, I'm going to hold on for a couple of seconds so that you can come back. Okay. That said, um, I was very, very, very upset this morning while talking to someone because I had ignored the specific language of the Constitution, especially in the revised, the amended version, 2022, 2023. I had ignored it because it's illegal, it's null and it's void. I certainly wasn't going to enforce any of it. I wasn't going to even refer to it. But I looked at it this morning and it bothered me. It got under my skin because not only am I now looking at individuals that have no honor, they have no courage, and they do have commitment, however. Their commitment is to carry out tasks and a cause and certain orders that literally defy logic. They go against the law, and those tasks, that cause, and those orders actually go against the benefit of the entire organization. And I became livid because I thought to myself, how could they? How stupid do they think the members of the organization are? Now, that question, I kind of wrestle with it because we've been stupid. We've been very stupid. We've been fools at the extent, the magnitude of the word in our approach to our own law. We have been very, very foolish. We, myself included, because they've gotten away with so very much for so very long that I can't look at any word in my vocabulary to describe what we've been other than fools. We've been taken advantage of because of our lack of understanding. I keep talking about this. So it's imperative that you pay very close attention and that you understand exactly what we're going to be talking about going forward. The next few videos, I'm still going to be putting out these other videos, but right now I desperately need you all to pay very, very close attention to what I'm about to cover in our Constitution. Let's get into this. In the Constitution, the 2009 version, May 2009, and it's okay. So May 2009. I'm going to go to Article 7. Article 7. And if you notice, it keeps going down into sections. It goes down into sections, okay? And it goes all the way down to section 12. And when you turn to the next page, it's Article 8, okay? But it goes to section 12. Well, in the new Constitution, okay? The new Constitution, May 2023, okay. Article 7, okay. You see these changes? This right here? Okay. Now, look at this. Section 8A, B, C, D. E, F, G, no more sections. No more sections. Okay? Now, apparently, they took what was in those other sections, they hacked it up, chopped it up into pretty much a word salad, and slid it conveniently into all these other sections under, subsections rather, under Section 8 of Article 7. Now, the problem that I have, this was, dirty, dirty, dirty. Slick, but dirty. Okay. Members, in the 2009, let's look at Article 7, regulations for bishops to be hereafter selected. Okay? In the Article 7 of the 2009 Constitution, in Section 8, that's the one section that you'll find in the new Constitution. That's all. Section 8. Section 8 in the old Constitution, 2009, says the bishop may be removed from office for incompetency and for violating the laws of the faith or of the church or of the New Testament. Now, this is the removal of the bishop, Section 8. It goes into Section 8A. The General Assembly may be called by the Secretary at any time upon 30 days' notice to convene within not less than 30 nor more than 60 days thereafter for the purpose of the trial of the bishop upon charges preferred as hereinafter provided. Now, it continues to say, and shall have power to remove any bishop hereafter designated upon his being convicted of the charges preferred or prescribe such other punishment or restrictions as the nature of his case may require. Now, I'm not going to read all of that, but I want you to pay very, very close attention to the first portion. The General Assembly may be called by the Secretary at any time upon 30 days' notice to convene within not less than 30 nor more than 60 days thereafter for the purpose of the trial of the bishop upon charges preferred as hereinafter provided. What was Section 9 says the bishop may be tried for violations above mentioned by the General Assembly upon charges in writing preferred and signed by a minister and officer of the church or by 3 members of the church, a copy of which charges must be furnished him by the Secretary of the General Assembly 30 days before such trial. And conviction shall not be had upon any charge except upon the open testimony of not less than 3 reliable witnesses, who must testify to facts of their own knowledge, and 1 or more of such witnesses must be a member of the church. Okay. Now, that final part of that section entirely was removed. Must be furnished him by the Secretary of the General Assembly 30 days before such trial. All of that upon not less than 3 reliable witnesses who must testify to facts of their own knowledge. 1 or more of such witnesses must be members of the church. All of that was removed. Now, it says further, the General Council, Section 10, shall examine whether members preferring charges according to the Apostle Paul are in good faith, which is a constitutional condition precedent to establish whether any charge is properly preferred against the bishop. Now, the language in here is to attempt to protect the bishop, despite the fact that he's been charged with violations. The sad attempt, even in the 2009 copy, is to add a layer of protection on behalf of whatever bishop is happening to be in office. That if he does something wrong, and somebody catches him in that wrong and pulls out paperwork to file a charge against him, well, it's almost like a layer of protection. These are the steps you have to take in order for these things to be brought forward so that the bishop can be tried. But keep in mind, when you're talking about the General Assembly Secretary and the General Counsel, you're looking at two individual offices where the individuals in those offices are supposed to be um, um, unbiased. They're not supposed to have any form of favoritism whatsoever. Their job is not to protect the bishop. Their job is to ensure that the laws of the organization are being followed and that these same laws are being enforced. Now, pay attention. In the new Constitution, dirty. It says under Section 8, Article 7, the regulations in Section 8 are for bishops hereafter selected who are not given a lifetime appointment as described in Article 6. Even that lifetime appointment, keep in mind and remember, just because the name is in the book and says they shall hold the office for the period of their natural life, it means diddly squat. It means absolutely nothing. Zero. It's just language to make it appear as if the bishop will be in that office for the period of his entire life. Now, the reason why it means nothing whatsoever is because how are you going to have an appointment to put you in a position for the period of your natural life and no one knows what you're going to do? You can violate the law left and right, upside down, forward and backward, top side up. And you're saying that no one gets to question you? No one gets to hold you accountable for your actions and your deeds and the things that you say? No one gets to bring you forward and charge you with violations? Of course they get to charge you with violations. And that's why you have this part of the law in the Constitution that covers the trial / removal of a bishop. And it explains why. And it says for a cause. If there's a reason, he can be tried after being brought forward for a cause. You have to have at least a cause. One violation is all it takes. That's enough to file a charge and bring him forward. Now, this current bishop has a litany of violations. The individuals around this current bishop has a litany of violations. It's upsetting. It's bothersome. It's a problem. I know you don't want to hear this. I know you don't like this. I know you don't like the feelings associated with this. I hated knowing and coming into the knowledge that these men are fraudulent. It bothered me as I sat in that council and I told the entire council, current bishop, when you were in the court as the governing attorney, and I told you, looking you dead in your eye in front of all the other council, that I've lost all respect for every single one of you, knowing what I now know, watching what I watched, observing what I observed, hearing you say the things that I heard you say, witnessing you involved in the things that I witnessed you involved in. I have lost all and absolute respect for every single one. And I said this in the court, to the court, and looking at you, because of the false accusations you were laying against me, the charges that you were trying to charge, knowing that you were involved in false pretenses to allege that I was doing certain things that you knew absolutely that I was not. And now we're here. It's bothersome, members of the organization, members, non-members of the organization. If you are not a member of this organization, but you see that there's red flags wherever you are, the institution that you're in, and you see that there's things taking place around you, there's things that you're looking at, there's things that don't feel quite right, there's things that don't sound quite right. If it seems like there's a problem, look into it. You have the right to ask questions. You have the right to hold every single person accountable to the deeds that they do, especially if they're in a position leading you or the organization that you're in. If they're in a position that is supposed to hold integrity and honor, then how can you not hold them accountable? What in the world has happened to us as a people to where we look at people knowingly doing wrong, knowing full well that they're involved in wrongdoing, without holding them up to a very high standard? We have people that it's almost like, what is that game? You have the music, and with the music, they set the bar lower and lower and lower, and you go under the bar, and the lower you go, the lower you go. Whoever goes down the lowest under the bar without knocking the bar over, they win. We have been literally lowering the bar when it comes to the expectations that we hold our leaders accountable to. Why is that? It's terrible to where our leaders now are to meet such a standard that literally the bar is so low, all they got to do is just step over it. Anybody can do that. The standards for our leaders in this day and time are so low that almost anyone in prison can qualify. Now, if people in prison can qualify, anybody ought to be able to qualify. We have a problem. When I saw in this law, Section 8, let's look down. Section 8D. The bishop may be tried for violations above mentioned by the General Assembly. Okay. Now, let's go down. I'm not going to read it all. Let's go to 8G. And this is what? Section 8G. The senior minister who shall preside over the trial of the bishop. Read that again. The senior minister who shall preside over the trial of the bishop shall designate a special prosecutor from among of all people. You nasty low down. Ooh. From among the general council. The senior minister, first of all, shall preside over the trial against the bishop, but they are to designate a prosecutor. From the general council. A prosecutor from the general council. This group of untrustworthy, foul-living, lying, conniving, backstabbing, manipulative, bullyish, secretive, at times even threatening men. I've seen these men at times talk so down to people that I became upset. I didn't become upset at them. I became upset at the ones they were talking to. How in the world are you going to let that person talk to you that way? With such disrespect. I've seen these men do all types of things that go way overboard and beyond the line of crossing the law. I've seen them do things that many people had every right to simply dial 911 and press charges. All kinds of things. Over and over and over and over again. These men who violate our laws left and right all day long, who violate the laws of the New Testament. It's such a joke to these men. These men who do not hold each other accountable, who do not bring each other forward, who have practiced covering up wrongdoing and violations to the law to such an extent that they become qualified to even be called an expert in covering wrongdoing. It says the senior minister, and at the time of this writing, May 23, I was in the General Assembly, and I was trying to have it brought forward that the bishop, the current bishop at that time, and the General Assembly secretary at that time was working hand in hand in order to manipulate, deceive, and lie to the entire organization, and then commit fraud once again, despite the so many other times that has been done. And they used the former bishop's daughter, Mickey Bailey, as well as the current apostle, Jimmy Jones. And these individuals are very much aware of what they've done. The general counsel is very much aware of what they have allowed while they sat back, observed, and did nothing. Okay. Now, the powers of this organization, through deceptive practices like this, keep going through issues to where their powers are slowly being stripped from them. And when the powers of the organization are taken from them, what we see happening is the bishop, the senior minister, the General Assembly secretary, and the general counsel are dividing up these powers. They're giving each other powers that they're slowly taking from the people, left and right. And they're spreading it out with one another. This is why you see when a violation has occurred and someone has caught the bishop, caught him, and now they come forward with a charge to charge the bishop with a violation. The bishop, along with the senior minister at that time, the apostle A.D. Cunningham, along with him, the same way he did the last time, they fixed rigged, manipulated the Constitution, and sold the idea by tricking the people into thinking that they amended it. The same way they did it in 2009, they did it again in 2022. We see the late Constitution 2023 that has the numbers of the votes. The bishop at that time, Bishop Bailey, had the language specified in here: the senior minister who shall preside over the trial of the bishop. The senior minister at that time was Apostle A.D. Cunningham. And what Bishop Bailey wanted was, in the event that anybody ever questioned him pertaining to any laws that he had violated, as long as he's here, that they would bring charges forward, but as protection, he's going to get his boy on the right-hand side. I'm sorry. He's going to get his right-hand man. My apologies, everyone. I'm not trying to offend no one. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm trying to maintain my composure. But he's going to get his right-hand man, who's there to defend him at all costs, who's been there allowing him to just do whatever he felt like instead of doing his job as the General Assembly Secretary. He's supposed to stand up and make sure that everybody in that room is going by the law. My mother called me the other day and said that she's been watching the Senate, how they meet, how they congregate, how they do things when they carry out a vote. And this would be a beautiful exercise for anybody of you to check out. You can go online and pull up a Senate hearing, a Senate meeting, whenever they're getting ready to vote to pass a law. Watch it. Give it about an hour. Give it a half an hour. Heck, you can give it 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And watch how orderly that meeting is ran. Okay? You're not going to see people being told they can't talk, people being told they can't come to the mic, people being told to sit down, people being told to shut up, people being told. They don't do that. Why? Because they can't. There are rules to this thing. There's rules to have an official, orderly meeting. And everybody in the room is supposed to have the opportunity to talk, because you're there to represent other people besides yourself. You're not there to just talk about sports. You're not there to ask about your favorite football team or what color you would like your brand new Corvette to be. You're not there to sing songs to the bishop for his 15th year anniversary. That's why in the Senate, she did not see a band. She did not see a choir. She did not see the senators congregating around a bonfire singing Kumbaya. There was nothing that was going on by that Senate other than attending to the business at hand, which was to talk, make my talking point, so that my constituents, the individuals who voted for me to be here, would see that I tried to relay to the Senate the things that was necessary for them to understand what y'all wanted me to relay to them, so that y'all can be heard. And each one comes up to make their point. The people in the room, they consider the things that they heard. And then, if that's all the people that would like to talk, they then open up the floor. And then they proceed. Guess what? You're not going to see a time limit held on that meeting. When they get there, they're not coming in doing this. They're not looking at their watches. They're there to conduct business. And no one is going to get up on the floor and say, for sake of time, we're not going to allow nobody else to come up here and talk. The same way that Apostle A.D. Cunningham did time and time and time and time again, because he was looking out for the bishop. Your best interest was the bishop instead of the people, the general counsel's best interest was the bishop instead of the people. The senior minister, who happened to be the General Assembly secretary, best interest was the bishop instead of the people. By the way, the head judge at the time, his best interest happened to be the bishop instead of the people. Now, I know this is upsetting. I know it's frustrating. You don't want to hear this stuff. I know that you certainly don't want to hear about the Lord's holy manservant in the land today. Sweet, 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 precious is committing a bunch of violations behind your back. I know you don't like hearing that he's manipulating and he's lying. But here's one thing for sure. He has not proven to anyone in the entire organization that Lewis has lied on him. He has not been able to give any piece of evidence. The chairmans, the judges, the entire general council has not been able to come up with one shred of evidence that I have lied on any of them in there. Not one. All these videos, all these hours with me just smacking my gums, no one has been able to come forward and claim and produce evidence where I have lied on anybody. Anybody. And I've said a lot of stuff. Here's the point. If you can't prove me to be a liar, but I can prove any of y'all to be a liar, then members of the organization, non-members of the organization, people around the country, around the world, who should you believe? Should you continue believing who you refer to as the prophet or the Lord's mouthpiece or his voice on earth, somebody telling you that they are a God or they are God and his son, those three are one? Should you believe that person? Somebody telling you that they were separated from Mary's womb? Do you believe that this person was separated from Mary's womb? Let us not forget that he, the new version, the latest model of the Lord and Savior, Jesus himself, reincarnated, he said. Should we believe that individual? I know it's hard. I know we had so many hopes in this person. I just did a video. Young man rode all the way across country and back in pain on that uncomfortable bus after paying for a seat. Bishop Cunningham, how much money did he pay for that trip? Not a dime. How much money did he pay for a hotel in Dallas? Not a dime. Dallas congregation paid for that. How much money did he pay for those cars that were rented in Dallas? Not a dime. Dallas congregation paid for that too. How much money did he pay for the food in Dallas? Not a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime. Okay. How much money did he pay for his lodging in California? Not one single dime. The food there? Was he eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner from the cafeteria? Is he going to trust the food being cooked in that cafeteria? And the staff? No. They were eating very, very well. They were living very, very well. And I talked about this in the other video as well. While you and all those other members rode out there on that uncomfortable bus, paid for those hotels, paid for your food on the way, stopping at the rest stops and the shopping centers, while he rode a plane. Don't have time to be riding on no bus. For years, I used to think at least, if anything else, he could buy a RV a motorhome, and along with the buses, maybe the bishop and his staff could ride on the motorhome and the RV on the highway with the buses of the house of prayer, getting off at the rest stops and getting on to go on the trip with them. No, 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 no. He's going to leave and get on a plane. I guarantee you that plane is first class. Not going to ride no coach. Mm-mm. No, no, no. And how much did it cost? Mm-mm. That's coming out of the House of Prayer's pocket. My point is, all this stuff that he's living is coming out of the member's pocket, out of yours. That council is scratching his back. The General Assembly Secretary is scratching his back. The senior minister is scratching his back. Right now, the bigger problem is this law says that the senior minister shall preside over the trial of the bishop. Bishop Cunningham's problem is, and yes, I did refer to him as Cham. I don't like saying his name. I can't stand saying his name because I understand the man that he is. I understand the man that he has become, and I've lost all respect for him other than the fact that he's still in a position of authority. So I will respect that chair. I will respect that office. I will respect that title. But I don't like it. If you all knew what I know, you wouldn't even like saying his name either. But for sake of these videos and for anyone who still feels whatever towards, out of respect to you all, I will. But Bishop Cunningham does not have a senior minister. I believe he's working on pushing Jimmy Jones to be the senior minister. Jimmy Jones has been a man coming up out of nowhere, and he's been pushing him. The last bishop was pushing him. He brought him out of Virginia Beach and put him in New York the year before this whole debacle. This nonsense came out where they chopped up the Constitution in order to deceive and manipulate the organization once again. So Jimmy Jones, who worked along side by side with Mickey, that judge that I named also, Judge Cuthbert, and Apostle A.D. Cunningham at the time. Jimmy Jones kept his mouth shut. He didn't say anything, kept quiet. And he was rewarded for his silence by not letting the cat out the bag. And he was given New York Mother House, instantly becoming a chairman. 22, they arrive in Washington, D.C. No proposals coming through the houses. Proposals getting to the General Assembly, though. And while pastors came forward to let the bishop at the time, Bishop Bailey, know, we did not read this to our members. Our members don't know nothing about this. We did not go over this. They did not deliberate. They did not talk about it. They never even voted on it. What does Apostle Cunningham do? Yeah, we're going to push this through anyway. We're going to cut off, not allow anybody else to come up to speak for sake of time. What is this time, Jazz? The bishop gets hungry. We got to go. I remember sitting in court once, Supreme Court in Charlotte, and pushing, said, all right, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm getting hungry now. Why is it that the business structure of this organization is designed and built around whether or not you want to sit there and entertain the business at hand? The organization right now has been designed to do everything according to what the bishop likes and what he doesn't like. The people have been programmed, mentally programmed, to give him whatever he wants. And that is why they've been getting away with fixing the Constitution and pushing it like Bishop Cunningham did. Apostle Cunningham at the time pushed the proposals out on the floor illegally. That was another violation, knowing that it did not go through the houses. And to help cover it up, they made it look like they're upset about this. Oh, how could you? This is unright. not right. This is unfair. You don't do nothing like this. You know better. You pastors, you know better. You know better. We're going to fine you $100. Some of them got fined $25, smaller houses, because next time y'all know y'all read these proposals to the members. Y'all read it to the members. And Bishop Bailey, y'all make sure y'all do a report. I want a full report on this. What is that going to do? Nothing. It's all a show. And every one of those councilmen sat right there knowing it. Bishop Bailey wanted Apostle Cunningham to be the senior minister, which he already was, in the event that somebody caught him and brought him forward on charges. Apostle Cunningham would have been the one who would have been presiding over the trial, so that he could protect Bishop Bailey in front of the people. Even though he's on trial, it is made to look like we're abiding by the law. See? But Pastor Cunningham and Bishop Bailey did not count on the fact that something was going to happen. We still don't know what. People saying, well, he allowed Bishop Bailey to pass. We don't know what happened. We haven't heard anything. No autopsy, no report, no anything. There hasn't even been a burial. Body still in a refrigerator. Okay. Now, that in mind, he wanted Pastor Cunningham to preside over that trial to get him off the hook. And he, Pastor Cunningham, would have picked somebody off the general counsel to be the special prosecutor in order to litigate the charges, argue those charges against the bishop, while the bishop has an attorney who shall be a member of the church in good standing to advocate on his behalf. I am so sure that Bishop Bailey would have used Mickey to advocate on his behalf. Problem is, Mickey does not know. Would have used Mickey, I believe. My opinion is, could have used anyone. However, the individual that would have been chosen off the council, my opinion, would have been Jimmy Jones. You know what you was doing, Jimmy. I'm sorry, Apostle Jones. So here's the con. And I got so, because not only are you violating the laws, not only are you manipulating the laws, not only are you fabricating the laws, creating fake constitutions and taking more power by that, members. What I mean by that is, when this Constitution says the bishop shall have the power to do this, the bishop shall have the power. This is why you kept hearing Bishop Bailey say, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. The law says I can do this. Look, let me go back. Let me find one. I'm going to come back to this, the point that I want to make. Anytime you see in the law, when it refers back to the Constitution, anytime you read in the law a referral to the Constitution, okay, 8B, the bishop may be tried for violations above mentioned by the General Assembly. Now, go down to the second sentence. The General Council shall examine whether members preferring charges, according to the Apostle Paul, are in good faith, which is a constitutional condition precedent. Anytime you hear the Constitution make mention of the Constitution, what they're saying is, well, we have to do this because the Constitution says we have to do this. But they're doing it because they know that they're fixing the Constitution. so that later on they can say, the Constitution says you can't do that. Or, I got the power to do this and you can't stop me. Bishop Bailey did it 2023 when I sat there in that General Assembly and I got quiet because I saw what he was up to. I didn't realize that he was a part of this until he let the cat out the bag. He said, when he wouldn't allow me to speak, the council getting ready to get up there and do their song and dance to distract. They take up the meeting doing distractions because they don't want to handle real business. And that's how they keep this charade going forward. So before they did that, Bishop Bailey said, now, I don't have to do this, what I'm about to do, but I think I might allow for anyone who has anything you'd like to say, maybe something pertinent to the General Assembly. Okay. But he said, I don't have to do this. And then after they sung, then he said, again, I don't have to do this. What is he saying? What he's saying is the law does not require for him to open up the floor. The problem is, even though the Constitution may not say he has to open up the floor, the order of an official meeting says he must open up the floor for anyone in the room that has questions or comments they'd like to make. Because you can't silence the elected officials called delegates in the General Assembly. You must permit them to come and speak. You can't come up with a time limit and say, we got 20 minutes to get this work done and get out of here. No, you can't do that. Because now you're silencing the people and the people are not being heard. It is another violation, is my point. And Apostle A.D. Cunningham assisted in violating the law time and time again. Every single year. Along with the General Counsel. Every single year. And whoever they used. Now, there's several laws that have been broken, and I'm not even going to share all of them yet because I'm certain that they don't even know all of the laws that they have broken. So that when this comes forward, you will have such a very long list of so many violations to answer to. And the biggest problem for you is all we need is one. If you violate one law, you violated the entire law. That's exactly what Jesus meant when he said, a little bit of leaven leavens the entire lump. In other words, a little bit of corruption makes the whole lump corrupt. The bishop is corrupt. The General Assembly Secretary is corrupt. The senior minister is corrupt. The head judge is corrupt. And that entire General Council is corrupt, with judges and chairmen and district chairmen and pastors. Oh yeah, some evangelists. All corrupt. Then how can the members of the organization ever get any justice, fairness, equity? So when I saw this, I was livid because they put it in the law that if the bishop gets caught violating the law and someone serves him with a charge so that he can be brought forward, they made sure that a law was placed in the Constitution. Oh, dirty, rotten. Ooh. They made sure a law was in the Constitution that would protect him even in his wrong by allowing a corrupt senior minister to preside over the trial. And then for the senior minister who's corrupt to pick a corrupt general council member to be the prosecutor, to litigate the charges against the bishop in the trial of the bishop. And then to make sure that there's an attorney to represent the bishop. So you really have a trifold layer of protection. You got the senior minister who's already working on your behalf, and they're going to preside over it to pretty much throw it your way, just like he did and has been doing in the General Assembly, throwing it your way and not allowing the members to speak, not allowing the members to talk, not allowing the members to come up to the floor, not allowing time to go on and continue so that the business can be addressed, but yet he's allowing you to say anything you want. The General Assembly Secretary allowing you to do anything you want. The council in there maneuvering also, going up on the floor, sitting down, coming back on the floor, sitting down, coming up with terms like general counsel only, knowing that that is no place in the General Assembly for the general counsel only to do anything. All corrupt, every single rotten apple in there. The whole barrel needs to be thrown out. And it's coming. It is coming. So when I come back in the next video, we're going to pick apart from the old Constitution and the new Constitution, show you the changes, how they've added powers to themselves, added powers to the bishop, added powers to the General Assembly Secretary, added powers to the senior minister, and added powers to the council. But at the same time, I'm going to show you where they took those powers from the people. Every power that's been given to the bishop was power taken from the people. Every power given to the General Assembly Secretary was power taken from the people. Every power given to the senior minister is power taken from the people. Every power given to the General Council is power taken from the people. And every power given to the bishop is power taken from the people. And instead of them empowering the people, year in, year out, they come up with strategic ways to make it look like that they're abiding by the law while they come and do a song and a dance. You are marching. What's that got to do anything with the General Assembly? A meeting. Distractions. But it's all coming to a head. With that said, I want to thank you all for your time. And I thank you for your support. We'll see you in the next video.